What up? It's your boy Ray V. Let's get it.
Sad boy.
Sad boy quote of the day.
F ain't for feels, it's for fantasy. So let's get into our deepest fantasies, baby.
I'll give you a third for him, though.
We're going to do a little something different today and do a sell low video. What I mean by sell low is trading a player away when their value is already falling because it will just continue falling. Just taking whatever you can get before they free fall to zero. Hopefully this makes sense and is informative. Let's check them out. Our first guy's going to be Bucky Irving. I know I've talked about him so much recently and I've had him at least on one sell high video before, but every day I hear something about Kenneth Gainwell. Quotes keep coming out about 1A, 1B, Gainwell this, Gainwell that, Bucky's shoulder injury, he's still in a non-contact jersey, Bucky's value is dropping and is going fast. His 2025 breakout was never fully materialized. After an exciting rookie year, he missed significant time and his efficiency cratered. He was at 5.4 yards per carry as a rookie, and it went down to roughly 3.4 yards per carry in 2025. The backfield is dummy crowded, and Gainwell will be taking passing down work and work in tandem with Bucky between the fives. Then Sean Tucker will come in and just steal all the goal line touches. Bucky's fantasy ceiling depends heavily on receiving volume, so losing those snaps and touchdown upside hurts. He's not viewed as a locked-in bell cow. He doesn't seem capable of handling a full workload over an entire season, and Tampa are projected to have a disgusting three-headed backfield committee. Running back value falls fast. Once a young running back loses the future running back one label, dynasty managers rarely pay to get back in. His current value is still based partly on what people hoped he'd become, not what he's recently shown. If Bucky is merely a 12 to 15 touch per game committee back who doesn't get premium receiving work or goal line touches, his value can easily slide from a mid RB2 asset to a replaceable RB3 by next offseason. That's the life of a late round running back. His value has already dropped substantially, and many dynasty managers believe you're selling at the bottom. The community sentiment is very split, which usually means the market has already priced in a lot of risk. So if you're selling Bucky, I'd do it only if you could turn him into a 2028 first, a younger wide receiver with insulated value, or a same tier running back whose role seems more secure at least. Selling him for a random second is probably just locking in the loss, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Our next guy's gonna be Harvey. I love me some Harvey and still think he'll give you flex value and do what he was drafted to do, but his value stays dropping after Denver added competition to the backfield by re-signing J.K. Dobbins and drafting Jonah Coleman. This makes it much harder to project Harvey as a future lead back. Harvey's value is built on a role that may no longer exist this upcoming season. He's already 25 years old. For a dynasty running back, that's a problem. Be wary, Kalon Black holders. Managers were hoping for several years of growth, but Harvey entered the league older than most rookie running backs and doesn't have much age-based value insulation. His production may have been situation-driven. Harvey's biggest stretch came after injuries opened up touches. Critics point to mediocre rushing efficiency and argue he benefited more from opportunity than talent. The hope still lies in efficiency as a pass catcher and still used in end-zone schemed plays. As we saw last year, he does have a nose for the end zone. The ceiling is getting lower. The most likely outcome now looks like a receiving back in a committee rather than a 250 touch workhorse. That's useful for fantasy, but it's not the type of profile that holds dynasty value. The market is already turning on him. Harvey is a dynasty faller and his ADP and value have dropped significantly since the offseason began. If Harvey settles in as Denver's passing down specialist behind Dobbins and Coleman, he'll be viewed more like a flex running back than a future starter, and dynasty managers stop paying premium prices for those players. Harvey's path to become a long-term feature back is getting narrower every month. If you could still get a second for him, I would. Flex type players are typically valued around the third round range. Next guy's gonna be Ricky Pearsall. Niner guy here, Ricky P believer. Nah, Brody, I'm selling low. You came back from getting shot, you'll come back from me selling you low. It's all good. You're still selling a projection, not production. We're entering year 3 and still waiting for the breakout. Famous last words, since wide receivers trend to typically break out year 3. Pearsall was a first round pick, but he hasn't established himself as a reliable fantasy starter. Once a wide receiver finishes year 3 without a breakout, dynasty managers start to think about moving on. His value is based on opportunity, not results. The bullish case is still, he could become the 49ers wide receiver 1. The problem is that the market has been saying that for over a year without getting the payoff. The addition of Mike Evans and Deshaun Stribling may stun him yet again for another year. If a wide receiver doesn't break out after their year 3 season, especially a first round wide receiver, the B word starts getting thrown around. Bust. Use a buster. Try trading for a guy labeled bust and see what you get. Injuries just keep showing up. Whether you call him injury prone or unlucky, he's objectively missed significant time in both NFL seasons. The best ability is availability, and those concerns are becoming part of his profile. The 49ers aren't committed to making him the focal point. San Francisco keeps adding pass catching options and spreading targets around, making it difficult for Pearsall to earn the type of volume needed for a major dynasty value jump. The market is already trending down. Several dynasty value trackers have Pearsall among the notable wide receiver fallers of the 2026 season. If Pearsall starts 2026 as a rotational wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, and doesn't immediately command a high target share, dynasty managers will stop viewing him as a future breakout and start valuing him as just another replaceable receiver. Try selling Demarcus Robinson in your dynasty league and see what he gets you. He's on the Niners currently, by the way. If you could wrangle a second out of him, definitely would cut my losses. If it's only a third or 2/3, I would be more inclined to sink with the ship. That's the pride and ego talking. Get out now. Next guy's going to be Michael Penix. No, not the lefty with the triple ACL tear in the right knee and a clavicle fracture, as well as a shoulder AC joint separation on his right side too. Maybe he ain't a lefty by choice. His dynasty value is still being supported by draft capital and hope, not by what he's actually shown on the NFL field. The injury concerns are becoming impossible to ignore. Penix entered the NFL with a lengthy injury history and then suffered another ACL tear during his second season. Every additional major injury reduces both his fantasy ceiling and job security. He doesn't have rushing upside to save his fantasy value. Unlike many fantasy relevant QBs, Penix isn't going to offset passing struggles with 500 plus rushing yards. If he's not a highly efficient passer, his fantasy profile gets thin quickly. The actual production wasn't good. Before the injury, he averaged just 13.7 fantasy points per game and ranked near the bottom of the league in several accuracy metrics. His trade value has already fallen into speculative QB tier. Some dynasty trade charts have him valued alongside dart throw quarterbacks rather than established starters. If Atlanta starts questioning whether he's the long-term answer, the value collapse gets ugly. Tua is already looking nice in OTAs and mandatory camp, while Penix is still not cleared for contact. It seems like it's Tua's job to lose at the moment. In Superflex, the difference between starting QB and backup quarterback is often multiple first-round picks in value. If Penix comes back from the ACL and is merely average instead of clearly good, dynasty managers will stop valuing him as a former top 10 NFL pick and start valuing him as an injury-prone quarterback who may not have a second contract locked up. There's still a path to a major rebound. In Superflex, starting quarterbacks are so valuable that even mediocre QB play can stabilize his price. You could totally hold and hope, but you can just as easily sink with that ship. Give me my second and I'm walking away. Add some fab too. Let me go get Sorbsy. And our last guy is Chris Godwin. It hurts. Godwin is one of my guys and I got him on so many teams, but the drumbeat for the youngins is just too loud. The more reports come out, the lower he drops. They saying Godwin will lead the Tampa wide receiver room by name only, and either Emeka Egbuka or Jalen McMillan could easily outproduce him and become the main target. That's rough. With Godwin, you're betting on a 30-year-old receiver with a growing injury history to beat the age curve. He's entering the danger zone for dynasty wide receivers. Once receivers hit age 30, their trade value often falls faster than their actual production. Even if Godwin is still useful, dynasty managers tend to move on. The injuries keep stacking up. Since the major ankle injury in 2024, he struggled to stay healthy and missed significant time in 2025. Another injury-plagued season could crush what's left of his market value. The production decline has already started. He finished 2025 with just 33 catches, 360 yards, and 2 touchdowns. At some point, dynasty managers stop viewing injuries as bad luck and start viewing them as part of the player profile. The Buccaneers are only getting younger. Those younger receivers I talked about earlier in Egbuka and McMillan pushing for larger roles. Shoot, Ted Hurst getting the buzz and might kick him off the field at times too. They even trying to kick out Mayfield, sort of, allegedly. The youth is taking over in Tampa for real. Even if Godwin remains productive, his long-term target dominance isn't guaranteed. Rebuilders don't want him. A lot of the current market views Godwin as a contender-only asset. Once a player reaches that stage, every year of aging reduces the buyer pool. If Godwin doesn't immediately return to being a 1,000-yard receiver in 2026, he'll be a 31-year-old wide receiver with multiple major injuries, and dynasty managers may only value him as a throw-in piece by next offseason. I'm not gonna lie, I just need another guy to add to my list. You know me, I gotta get to the number 5. I threw Godwin on just because I wanted to see if I can argue it. I stand by what I said though, but me, personally, always in contender mode. Give me more Godwin. But if you're not, a second is nice. Or flip him for a younger wide receiver or positional flip to a tight end or running back. I hope y'all like the players I brought to the table today and the analysis. And hey, if you don't like my takes or agree with my prices, just buy these guys low. It's a 2-for-1 video. Y'all are welcome. But you can't do that without your daily dose of send that trade. Send it. Send it. That's it for today, though. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, rebuilds fade, dynasties reign. Call me a lover boy, simply, bruh. It's more than love sick, I got a fever. Feelings overloading, not to be a diva. Standing 10 toes down, I'm not gonna leave you.